Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining this and watching our first video of our new video series, The Gist of Consulting. We are very excited to do this, and our first speaker for this series this month is Animesh Mishra, who is a UT Southwestern PhD candidate and an incoming consultant in McKinsey. A little bit about Animesh. He started his journey back in India where he did his master's from Aishir, which is one of the top renowned institutions in India. And later he came to US, started his PhD program at UT Southwestern, and then got involved in various organizations at UT Southwestern, including the Consulting Club. So I have known him as the president of Consulting Club. He has been instrumental in growing the Consulting Club for the last three and a half years. He was involved in sort of setting up the first healthcare competition that we were able to do here back in UT Southwestern 3 years ago. It's been running for 3 years now. And after that, of course, the natural transition was to do interviews, and which he did last summer, and he was successful to get an offer from McKinsey. So he would soon be a McKinsey consultant. And right now he's just, I'm pretty sure he's trying to finish up his PhD and jump into that role pretty soon. So thank you, Animesh, for joining us. We are very excited to have you here and basically hear about your journey. And so I'm going to hand it over to Rupam right now, who has sort of some few preliminary questions prepared for Animesh.
Yeah, thanks for your introduction and thanks for having me here. I look forward to some engaging and exciting conversation in the next hour or so.
Wonderful. Thank you, Animesh. So first, congratulations on getting an offer from McKinsey. So tell me, how do you feel now?
Elated, that would be the word. Like, I really feel very happy. I certainly feel relaxed, of course. Like, yeah. It's a nice, cushy job to have, which I was aiming for a long time. It was like a dream job for years now, for which I was preparing. So certainly, a lot of efforts had gone into trying to prepare for this job, and finally getting it is certainly, I feel elated.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Whoever gets into McKinsey or like the other two, BCG or Bain, yeah. I'm sure that they feel similar in the similar manner. So tell me, Animesh, a little bit about like when did you decided that you want to go into consulting? Is there any particular incident that triggered this in your heart?
So to be exactly precise, I started getting interested into consulting around third year of my PhD career, like of my PhD training. And the reason is it's pretty natural. It goes past in how my career has evolved over the years. And so back in India, when I was starting my undergraduate, I was from pure mathematics background. I had no biological science. And at that point of time, I thought that I would be a physicist. I would do my research in some kind of physical sciences, whether it be astrophysics or quantum mechanics or something like that. That was my initial goal. But as I got exposed to more research avenues in ICER, I got attracted towards biology because I thought that those were more relevant problems I would want to work on, connected to more real life impact. So that has always been kind of a overarching goal in how I have planned my career, and I progressively went closer to such problems. So I started from mathematics, and then in my PhD, I ended up doing a hardcore microbiology, microbiome PhD research. I would have never thought that I'd be handling mice or anything. But the driving motivation was to get closer to solving real life problems, which can address the current needs and current problems. And as I started my PhD career, after some years, I realized that the speed of the research environment is a bit slow, and the impact is not very tangible, which I can see in the real time. And at that point, I was trying to look for avenues, either going to industry or doing something else, and trying to figure out how I could land up in a spot where I could create more tangible impact and faster turnaround times with the work I'm doing. And that's how I stumbled into consulting, and it was like a perfect match. It was like I literally got wowed by knowing about the description of the job, that you can just work on real life problems for 2 months and then move on and do something else and keep learning and keep
Wonderful. So yeah, I mean, trying to get to a position where you can see tangible benefits in like a very shorter time, that's a good vision. But so are you also planning to run for office someday? Because those people are like, at the forefront of making policies and heading the changes.
Means I'm not sure if I'm planning to run for an office at this point of time. Though I think I'm eligible to run as I've turned 30 now. So I think I'd be eligible to contest an election now, but I don't plan on anything. Yeah, but I would certainly would want to contribute in some way to the larger policy making if possible if I can get involved with it.
Mhm,
So one field which I certainly feel very closely connected to is equitable education
mhm,
system,
mhm,
which and since I have myself faced first-hand experiences of not trying to be exposed to a lot of resources and guidance while trying to find your or chalk your path forward. And
mhm,
Rupam would second me because we got our undergraduate education in a very young institute. I was the second class of ICER, and he was the third class of ICER. So that is something which I have been exposed to firsthand, those problems and those shortcomings. So I certainly would want to contribute in some meaningful way in that on that front as well. And the consulting club at UT Southwestern, why I'm so intimately linked with it, and I like to be. It's kind of like in a microcosm, my way of trying to create a setting which would help people at UT Southwestern to get exposed to the consulting world and be able to have resources which might allow them to plan their careers well in advance.
So yeah, just to lighten up the mood, I'm going to ask you some questions like about like the perks in the management consulting industry. What are like apart from problem solving and apart from getting involved in high impact, high profile projects, what are the some perks that you get?
Uh, I think one of the perks is certainly like you get to travel to different places, which of
Yeah.
course after COVID-19 would probably start again to some degree. That's
Mhm.
certainly one of the perks. Which you get, the other perks would probably be trying to work with very smart people around you. It's
Yeah.
like I don't think it will ever happen that you'll be the smartest person in the room because in some degree or the other you will have some people who have achieved more than you or smarter than you in some sense or the other. There is always a chance of continuously polishing yourself, learning new things, and
Mhm.
so I think like that's pretty exciting in trying to get exposed to new ideas, new concepts,
Mhm.
something thought provoking every now and then. Yeah.
Mhm. Wonderful. So, as McKinsey is also known as it's like the factory of leaders. Like it produces many leaders. I have produced many leaders across various Fortune 500 companies. Let's say, for example, Sundar Pichai at Google is also a McKinsey alumni, right? So, uh, what do you think that you will also transit into some sort of industry after gaining some experience at the firm?
Yeah, so that's a pretty open-ended question. So
Mm-hmm,
I'm not entirely sure what my career trajectory would be at this point of time.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But I do think like as long as McKinsey will be willing to keep me around, I think I would at least want to be there for at least 2.5 to 3 years and get at least one promotion and become an engagement manager before I
mm-hmm.
decide what I want to do next.
Wonderful.
At this point of time, I think like consulting is a very perfect industry for me as long as, or at least I believe that. So it would be difficult for me to leave it easily. So I would certainly would want to take a good amount of time and look for a very concrete opportunity before I make the transition. I don't see myself that I'm probably going to be stressed about the job. Though it is a demanding job, but I think I would be able to enjoy it. So, yeah. So, long story short, I think like I'm going to be at McKinsey for at least for 2.5 to 3 years. And then based on what opportunity props up and based on the mission and vision of the company, which or the field which I would want to transition to, I would make that call. That's a bit as well.
And so I'm just going to sort of, before we let you go, I do want to do this one sort of a rapid fire thing. I have like a list of about 4 to 5 questions prepared for you.
Yeah.
And hopefully this would not take more than a minute. And so I'm going to start off with something very easy. Is there a famous personality that you idolize?
Irfan Khan,
Irfan
the
Khan.
actor. Yeah,
Okay.
the late Irfan Khan, the actor. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, I know McKinsey job is going to keep you very busy, but if you do manage to get that leisurely weekend, what would you like to do? Would you like to go sit on a beach with a drink in your hand, or would you rather relax on your couch with a hot cup of coffee and maybe a favorite book?
Beer with a book.
Okay. Okay. In your opinion, what's going to be the next biggest thing for the next decade? Is it going to be the self-driving cars or gene therapy or something else?
Yeah, I mean, according to me, it would be, I think, mental health in AI. If someone can come up with, breach that area, I think that would be revolutionary. I think like that is the most unexplored and uh, undiscovered area in general, both in terms of science and in terms of the products which we have, which are very nice or tailored. I think like so there is a disconnect between the education as well, or the knowledge. There is a knowledge gap in trying to create the product.
Okay.
I agree with that. But if that would gonna change, I think like that would be revolutionary.
Let's assume you're working on a difficult or a tricky project. And I mean, ultimately, yes, we want to end the project. We want to close the project. To you, what becomes more important, the result that you're trying to get to or the method by which you get it?
Okay, this becomes a bit tricky because uh, uh, I certainly like if it is a time bound project and if there is a deliverable I have to get to, then I'll have to be a bit more entrepreneurial in trying to come up with ideas in how I can get to the end goal uh, because I do not have the luxury to spend a lot of time and be very precise about it, and that's a part of the job that a consultant does. Like you have to optimize things to a level where you achieve the end goal, keeping the sanctity of the process intact as well. Yeah, so it will become more of an optimizing thing for me in that case.
If you were to choose between passion or perseverance to get to where you are, what do you think helped you more?
Perseverance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Those were, I think, the 5. I want to give you these last 20 seconds to give some kind of advice to all the people, especially the aspiring consultants watching this video. In 2 lines, what would you tell them?
You should love doing cases.
Okay.
Yeah, like if you want to do well in the consulting interviews, and also it would become a part of your life in trying to solve problems. So you should have an attitude that you love solving problems and love doing those cases. Like it should not be that you get tired. Like, you will get tired because you're a person, you are a human being, but it should not that should scare you away. It should something which should excite you to do. That would be something I would. And the other advice, like own your story.
Absolutely. Well, all right. I think that's all we had for today. Thank you so much, Animesh, once again for joining us. And we'll have more videos in this video series, The Gist of Consulting. I'm going to leave it to Rupam to add last few remarks and as we end the session.
Yeah, thank you, Chai, and thank you, Animesh, for doing this with us. And it has been a great evening here to discuss these interesting things. I hope that our viewers learned a lot. We personally, both me and Chai, learned a lot from your experience as well as from the insights that you provided. Yeah, and we will be glad to have you back sometime in the future as well to discuss more articles or more insights. And as well as when you join McKinsey, maybe we will be fortunate enough to bring you back for, let's say, a weekend or something to discuss, like, how does it feel to see the firm from inside, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure to have this stimulating discussion. Like I certainly enjoyed it a lot. I got engrossed. Like I could have gone for another hour trying to discuss these.
Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We look forward to seeing you again when we do this again next month. Thank you. Thank you.